Welcome back, everyone. My name is Miss Y, and I work for the Boys and Girls Club of Los Angeles Harbor. And today we're going to be exploring the life of the amazing Vincent Van Gogh. This is Vincent over here. If you haven't seen our previous videos that Sandra did, our little friend Vincent will be available for you guys to color and print if you want to make your own puppet. So today we're going to be covering, like I said, Vincent Van Gogh, who was a Dutch Post-Impressionist painter, who painted a lot of beautiful, colorful things. One of his most famous paintings that you guys might be familiar with are his sunflowers, which look like this. But today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to mimic some of this texture with stuff that you guys have at home. For those of you guys who are not familiar with oil painting or have access to these things, I'm going to show you guys how to do a rendition of one of his sunflower paintings, like in our style, with the Starry Night background that you guys are also familiar with, which is not pictured here, but we'll post up right now. And I'm going to show you guys how to do it 3 different ways with 3 different types of materials, so you guys can kind of achieve some of the texture that he got. So today what we're going to be needing is paper, of course. Any paper will do, but if you have paper that's a little thicker, that can hold water, it will be much better. A few paper plates, since we're going to be making our flowers out of them. Once again, if you don't have paper plates, just maybe cardstock, anything thicker, something that holds up. White glue, any brand is fine, just white glue. Markers, watercolors, water, a pencil to draw, and crayons. If I miss anything else, once again I'll state everything as we go, and let's get started. So I'm just pulling a few shades of blue, maybe some purples, trace the drawing, like so, with crayon. And then just create different lines. So maybe with this more blue-green, I can do my longer lines here and kind of follow along the contours of the shape. So once you're done putting your base colors to your drawing, you're going to just get watercolor and either just give it one coat of one color or do a mixture of both. So I'm going to just get this watercolor palette that we love to use here. It's the Color Swell palette, which we'll be talking about at the end of the video. So we're going to be doing a little giveaway, my bad. I'm going to grab this blue. And you can make the colors a little lighter just by adding more water. I usually like to just grab the pigment and put it on my lid to kind of get an idea of how it looks. I'm going to go a little lighter, so I'm going to just grab more water. And then right on top of the crayon, I'm going to go over. And because wax doesn't mix with water, kind of like the whole oil and water concept, none of your colors will blend. So it's really nice to see how it all comes together. And you don't really have to worry about all of it mixing. And just play around. The less water you put on your watercolor, the more pigmented it is. So let me show you guys really quick right here. So I'm gonna just pick up the paint with not much water on my brush, and you'll see that the color is really intense. And the consistency is a little thicker. If I were to water this way down, it'll look less intense and the consistency will be much different. So this compared to this. So you can play around with it. I like to mix my colors and probably just go back to some of that blue again, just to remix and intensify the colors. And basically that's how you're going to be treating the whole image. You're going to be coloring everything with crayon and then going in with watercolor. So I'm gonna let this dry and I'll show you guys how it looks really quick. We let this dry. This is the result of the crayon and the watercolor. Like I said, of course you can add more color and do it to your liking, but this is the result. It has a lot of the nice texture of the crayon while giving like a nice little smooth wash of the watercolor. So that's that technique. Next I'm going to show you this one, which is just watercolor and markers. I'm going to show you how to do the flower really quick so you guys can see how it looks. So with the same drawing, I just picked up some yellow a little bit of water because I want it to be really pigmented. And I'm gonna give, it's really pigmented. So I'm gonna give all of these a yellow wash. This is how it's looking so far. I'm gonna go ahead and do the center, just the brown. And do the same thing, just give it a flat coat. And while that's wet, but not dry, I'm gonna just go ahead and grab some black with just the water that was on my brush and just like tap to make the texture in the center, or just blend it if you like. You can also just do this and blend and then do that if you want to do that. But you can always darken it with the marker. So just like earlier, I'm gonna let this dry and I'm gonna go ahead and go over it with marker and I'll show you how that looks. So with this all dry, we're gonna add, we're gonna use the marker to bring more lines to the work. Van Gogh was really famous for using a ton of lines. If you've seen his work here, there's very expressive lines, thick lines, thin lines, lines that go in a whole bunch of directions. He was really good at capturing movement, and that's what we want to do with our piece. This one in particular, you can see a lot of the strokes and the movement and everything. And I like this project because we merged, like I said earlier, one of his most famous works. So the sunflowers were really big. He did multiple versions of the sunflowers, and initially he did his sunflowers as a gift to one of his friends, Paul Gauguin, when he was in a move with him. And the Starry Night is really cool. I just discovered that when he painted the Starry Night, he was actually in an asylum. So Van Gogh had a lot of mental issues, and unfortunately, because the resources weren't there, he couldn't really get the help that he needed in time. However, he did decide, and he understood that he needed help. So towards like the end of his career, he decided to admit himself to basically an asylum. And they said that he painted Starry Night from memory, also from the times he would go outside and paint. So I thought it was really important to merge and look into some of his most famous work to see what it talked about and what he was thinking about while creating these pieces. So today we're merging two pieces. It's more intense than this one because I gave this one a more pale application, but if you want to look pale like this, just add more water to your watercolor. This one I kind of just grabbed more pigment because it's nice and bright and rich. I like it. They both came out really nice. So I'm gonna leave this here, and that's the second technique. So this is watercolor and marker. And our last technique, and I don't have a full example for it, is glue and watercolor. And the glue and watercolor essentially works just like the crayon and watercolor. It has like a resist. However, because the watercolor is white, I painted a little patch and it does like a white line resist. So with your glue, same thing, same concept. Just do a lot of lines. Play around with it. See how it works. And when it's all dry, paint right over it. So I suggest drying it by air, just without a blow dryer, because the heat makes the glue expand and it's gonna turn your glue drying flat. So I suggest just starting on this and then putting it away or coming back to it a day after, or even a few hours after, and painting. It's just watercolor at this point. So just color it however you like. And I'm gonna color this whole thing so you guys can see how it looks. I haven't even checked it out. So I'm excited to see how the lines appear on this drawing. And you can see that where the glue was, the lines are all white. You don't want to use too much water for this either,
because since the glue is water soluble and washable, if you put too much water, you'll end up scraping some of your glue off. So I'd suggest moving a little quickly, just putting your colors on, not too wet, or else it's gonna be a messy, sticky drawing. So since I'm gonna be gluing the pop-up flowers on top of this one, you don't have to get too detailed on your sunflowers. I'm just doing a base coat just so we don't have any white showing through. This is the final product of the watercolor over the glue. As you can see, it takes some time to build up some color because, like I said, it is water soluble. You want to be careful as to how much water you put. So I suggest doing a wash of a color, waiting for it to dry, and then doing another wash, so you don't remove too much of the glue in the process. With this as my base, I'm going to show you guys now how to make the flowers. So the flowers are made out of paper plates only because the paper plates are nice and sturdy, and I also like the way it curves. So on the Ziploc bag, whatever size, you're gonna just kind of paint on, or just write with your markers. Then I like to saturate it with yellow, like all the way first, because most of our sunflowers are fully yellow, and there are different color sunflowers, but this one I want to just have it be primarily yellow, and then just a little bit of orange. So with the orange, I'll kind of like wave it in there. I'm just doing like this. Here. Once you have that, I'm gonna just put it aside really quick, and you're gonna saturate or wet your paper plate with just water. And I'm going to just wet it a good amount. The more you wet it, the more it spreads. It has a different effect. If you don't wet it as much, it's fine too. But I personally like to wet it a good amount so it can spread. So you're gonna grab your bag, and your marker is on this side. I'm gonna flip it and turn it onto my plate, and I'm gonna, with my hand, kind of rub onto it. So I'm gonna put that aside so it can dry, and I'll show you what I mean by that right here. So this has a lot of yellow in it, and I might probably want more orange, so I'm gonna put some water on it. And once again, orange. I'm gonna put some orange on top of this pre-existing yellow, and you're gonna see that it has a whole different effect. And the drier it is, it has like a more rugged texture, like that. And the wetter it is, it has a more blended texture, like this one. So as it's drying, this one's tacky. I want to add more yellow to that. So I've carried away my orange. So I'm just, once again, put some yellow, just pure yellow, and I'm gonna just put this yellow right on top. Ooh, if I can see it. Of this one, you're gonna see the yellow's gonna intensify a little more. Yeah, and the color got a little more intense right there, which is really nice because it gives us even more texture, which we like, especially for this project. The same thing. I just did brown, and I did a little bit of black. So I just painted the whole thing brown, and then I did little dots of black, just like polka dots. It's kind of randomly. Do the same thing. Wet. Flip it onto it. Now just tap. I'm not blending this one. I'm doing it just tap it. There you go. You can add more brown. It's still wet, so you can still work with it. Thanks. Okay. And see, as it becomes more dry, it has like a more rough texture here. So I'm gonna continue doing that because I actually really like how that looks. Okay, it's drying out. Give it a little bit more water. Or you can even bring the color out with the watercolor brush. Or with the brush that has water in it, sorry. Same thing. Saturate it. There we go. And you can still grab some black and do more dots if you like. I know I want a little bit more. So I'm gonna just tap them on there. And that's how that looks. And since we already have white glue, we're gonna be using the white glue to stick it. So what I did is, once I painted my plate, I kind of measured how big it'll be. And you can cut off the excess. I'm not gonna glue this all the way. I'm only gonna glue a corner down. If you look at this, they're not completely like triangular or straight. They kind of just do like this triangular-ish motion, but it kind of waves out. So just look at some sunflowers and some references of them and kind of just try following that shape. So I'm gonna just go for it. I'm gonna just do like and change it up a little bit. Make some longer than others. Make some shorter, make some wider. I'm gonna, and use up your whole plate. Like, you don't wanna waste any of it. So there's one of them. So I'm gonna save that here. And then with this leftover, I can make a little one. So, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think you can understand that it's a sunflower. So you're gonna just get all your petals ready to go, and I'm just putting glue at the base of it, and just give yourself some space to kind of overlap. I want to put the bigger ones in the back, and then the medium ones and the small ones, and you can overlap. That's why I don't glue them all the way down or push them all the way down, so I kind of like where it goes. So I have these really big ones, and they're floating. I want to put one more before I squeeze it or flatten it. Maybe I'll do this orange one for some contrast. And I like how that looks, so I'm gonna just squeeze. And those are gonna stay there. And when you're done, just cut off the excess. Just cut off. And there you go. It's a really quick example. And just like I said, all these activities can be changed to your liking. You can change them. You can change the color palette up a little bit. You can even change the background. If you don't want to do Starry Night, you can superimpose a different image. It is all up to you guys. The important thing is that you experiment, you have fun, and that you are encouraged to look into more artists, especially one as talented as Van Gogh. So, have any questions, or you want to show us your examples, please feel free to email me, as well as I mentioned, we are going to be having a giveaway. So Color Swell, which is the brand that we use for our watercolor palette, is going to be doing a giveaway. So today, they were nice enough to give us a few sets of these, and today we're going to be giving away one of their color sets, which includes 3 sets of markers, 5 sets of crayons, 2 sets of watercolors, which we use, and some sketch pads. So to win one of these, you have to show us that you either made the high school example or the middle school example here, either one. Email it to me, and we'll enter you in a raffle to win this kit. So hopefully, if you guys have any questions, so you can create anything, please email me. When you email me your example, please take a picture of your example and you with your example along with your information, so I can put your name in the raffle and we can give you guys your prize if you win it. So I hope you guys liked the activity. I hope you guys try it out and try winning our awesome kit. And we hope to see you guys next week. Bye.